Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om, my dear children. Do you want to know of a child who loves and lives with Bhagavan and plays with him all the time, and finally he gets great fame in life, loved by all, admired by many, and finally he even gets moksha and bees with Bhagavan forever? Krishna and Varada. Bhakta Varadaya, or Kshetraya as he is more popularly known. You all know Carnatic music? So among the Carnatic Sangeeta, they are called Vaggeyakaras. Among them, Kshetraya was such a wonderful poet. He lived probably in the 1500s. And his actual name was Varadaya. But because of his great bhakti and devotion to Bhagavan, what did we say? He got to know Bhagavan. So he was called Kshetrajna or Kshetraya. Now you all know Krishna, our beautiful darling of Vrindavan. Who is Gopal Krishna? I know Yashoda Krishna and Radha Krishna and Murli Krishna and Gopal Krishna and Bala Krishna. By the way, who is Bala Krishna? Yes, I know you guessed it right, all of you. Bala Krishna is none other than our Gurudev, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. But here, Varadaya loved Gopala Krishna. Each bhakta has his own way of connecting with Bhagavan. There are many ways, and you can connect with Bhagavan in your own sweet way, playing and loving Bhagavan. Gopala Krishna is one who looks after the cows, takes care of the cows. Will you not do that? We all love Krishna, and therefore we all love Krishna's cows also. Now, do you know who is this Varada? There is a great place in the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh called Mova, even now. And the place is very famous for Mova Gopala Krishna. And in such a big village, he was born to his parents. Now, Varadaya was a very playful child. From his childhood, all he did was play, play, play. And if someone asked, where can I find Varada? They will say, oh, he is playing by the pond. He is playing by the river. He is playing in the temple. He would play all the while. He was always joyful, happy, playful, teasing, and he would enjoy his time all the while. Some people would say, don't you send your child to be with Varada. He is always only playing. But all the other people would love Varada, and his mother would not be too happy. But then, he was happy all the time. And what would he do? He would go after the cows, and he loves Gopala Krishna. So can you all guess what does he carry with him all the time? Varada used to carry a Murali or Venu with him all the time, so that he would always play and sing, and he would play the flute. Now Varada was very good at singing. Singing came just natural to him. But it was a spontaneous singing. And a place that was very nearby, that was called Kuchipudi. You all know Bharatanatyam, and then Kuchipudi, and then Odissi. These are all various grand forms of art, dance in this world. Now Kuchipudi is the place from where the world famous Kuchipudi art form originated, and his village was right next to it. So what would he do? He would also go there and learn to dance and sing from the Kuchipudi Kurukshetra there. There would be many gurus, and he had one such guru. Govinda Krishna Jai, Gopala Krishna Jai. Govinda Krishna Jai, Gopala Krishna Jai. He would keep singing and enjoying himself. And by the way, in this Kuchipudi Kalakshetra, he composed many songs and he was singing, and the gurus loved him for his playful and joyful nature. Would you not love someone who is always playful and joyful with you? Or someone serious and always speaks the rules to you? You don't like it, right? And our dear Kshetriya was loved by all. Now, it so happened that he also had a classmate. Her name was Mohanangi, commonly called as Bhama. Now, Bhama was a beautiful girl growing into a beautiful woman. And she was a very talented soul. This lady was good at dancing, and her guru especially admired her for a great talent and trained her to be a great teacher. She was a very good friend of Varada. Both of them learnt, danced and sang together, and they grew up. They loved each other, and he would sing and she would dance, and it went on. She was a very, very talented lady, and she grew up to be a Devadasi. Now, Devadasi means, one who dedicates their life to Bhagavan. Now, why? Some people would think they are so talented, like painting and dancing and singing and beautiful and so many, and poetry and literature. So being so great, they would not want to get married to an ordinary person, and then such people would choose Bhagavan, and such people are called Devadasis. And she was such an extremely brilliant person. Now, people didn't feel Kshetriya to be, or Varadaya to be very, very talented. They thought he was just being naughty and whiling his time just singing and things like that. One day, his mother cried. She said, "Varada, why did I have you as a child?" Now, Varada also got upset. Then she told him, "Do you know why we called you as Varada? You were born in this great family. And in this family that comes, and in this Muvva Gopala Krishna that is there, do you know, your father did great tapas. And from that tapas, after then were you born to me. We thought you'll help our family shine. What happened? You are running after the cows and acting like a common cowherd. You are born in a great family. Why don't you learn great literature, Vyakarana, the Vedangas?" She cried. Varada, Varadana. Varadan means a boon from Bhagavan. And actually, the very place which is Muvagopala Krishna, where Venugopala was there, was itself a blessing through the Mudgala Maharishi. Once upon a time, there was Krishna dancing with Radha in divine ecstasy. And he was dancing, it is said, that one muva, the anklets that he has around his leg, as he was dancing, that fell down, and that fell down at this spot. And knowing that, Mudgala Maharishi did great tapas at that place, where he got a divine vision of Lord Venugopala there. And he wanted to have a great temple, and he prayed to the Devatas. The Devatas appeared there, and it is said they built a wonderful temple that stands even to today. They said they built it overnight, and then there was this beautiful Swayambhu Murti of Venugopala. And since then, Mudgala came to be known as Muvva or Muva in nowadays terms. So our Varadaya, was indeed a great blessing. He was joyful, playful, but Bhagavan had great things in store for him. He wanted to get married to Bhama, but his mother didn't agree. And Bhama had become a Devadasi too, dedicated to Bhagavan. So he, became a little bit Vairagya in life, and therefore, he thought he would just go away somewhere. And he went to temple and cried, "What about my life? People don't appreciate me. They think I'm just whiling away my time. I'm just a simple, just ordinary cowherd. I know nothing." And he fell down asleep crying. When he got up, he saw a beautiful Sant Maharaj there, who came to him and said, I am going to give you a mantra. And this great yogi became his guru, and he did mantra upadesha. Do you want to know the secret mantra that he did? It is called as Gopala Mantram. Are you all ready, children? Are you ready? It's a secret. Om Shri Venugopalaya Namaha. Are we ready? Can we all do this mantra japa? Start. Om Shri Venugopalaya Namaha. Om Shri Venugopalaya Namaha. Om Shri Venugopalaya Namaha. Om Shri Venugopalaya Namaha. And once Varada was initiated into the mantra by the Guru, he uttered the mantra in the temple. He stayed in the temple, and so much upasana that he did, that finally one day he had Bhagavan Krishna's darshan, and Bhagavan Krishna blessed him. And since that day, a great bhakta and a great kavi was born from Varada. He loved Bhagavan, but now from his birth, Sakshat Saraswati Devi herself flowed, and he was singing. And when he sang, even great poets would sit up to take notice. And now his friend, the Bhama, Mohanangi, she also heard his bhakti-filled padam, it is called, his particular poetry. And having heard that, she was filled with a divine ecstasy, and then she used to dance. Now both of these, he used to sing for Bhagavan in the temple. He never went back to his home. And she used to dance in the temple. And that is how time passed. But Bhagavan had even greater thing for Varadaya. I told you, Bhagavan always blesses his Bhagavan with what? His bhaktas with what? Fame also. Because Bhagavan wants to spread love to everyone through his own bhaktas. And therefore, before long, Varadaya could not stay in Muvva for long. He was singing in ecstasy, and he had a great sankalpa, which was nothing but Narayana's sankalpa. Now see, when we become bhaktas, we don't do what we want. We do what Bhagavan wants. It is Narayana Ichcha. And therefore, composing songs in simple style called Padam, he started moving from place to place. When he communicated this to Bhama, she was not happy. Will you be happy to lose a friend, and such a dear friend who is with Bhagwan, really? No. He said, when I reach Kanchi, I'll send word for you, so you can join me there. We can see Varada Acharya or Varada Raja there. So he went, and then, in Andhra Desha, he saw many things, Tirupati, Kadapa, Sri Shailam. It didn't matter that he would see only Krishna, but wherever Bhagavan was there, he would go to all those places. Not only that, he spent a lot of time all over the south, most of the time in Kanchi and Sriranga and Madura and Tiruvallur and many such places we shall get to know. But everywhere where he visited, in all the places, whether it was Subramanya or it was Shiva or it was Brahma or it was Vishnu or it was Narayana, anywhere he went, he would sing great songs of love dedicated to them, and he would always write Muvva Gopala at the end, meaning he dedicated all his poetry to his beloved Lord. So in all of them he saw only one. So Bhagavan is one and forms are many. What do we learn? Bhagavan is one, forms are many. So that is how he saw no difference between Bhagavan he loved and everyone and everything that he saw in this world. Okay. So first he went to, Guntur, Bellamkonda, which is again a great place, And then later on he went to Bhadrachalam where he saw Rama. But whom did he love? He loved his Muvva Gopala. He saw Gopala there. And on his way, there was the Golconda. The Golconda as a king. The king also loved art. And when he heard of this Kshetraya or Varada, he invited him and he loved the poetry of Varada. He tried to keep him at his court. Now, there was a dancer who was a good dancer, and the lady was called Kamala, who was also beautiful. She was enamored and got in love with Varada. She wanted to have Varada with herself. But would Varada be tempted by ordinary women? He had already given himself to Bhagavan. For in his view, only Bhagavan, his Krishna, was the only Purusha, and all others were but women, including himself, who were pining for the love of the Lord. So he had no attraction to ordinary women. Even if Helen of Troy would stand in front of him, he would have cared a foot for her, From there, he went to Madurai, and there, there was the Tirumala Nayaka, a very cultured Raja. See, this was a time where romantic poets were always there. And, they were all writing poems of love. Now, Varadaya was also no exception. He also started writing and composing and singing songs of love. But do you know with whom? He never forget since his childhood. He lived and loved Bhagavan alone. And therefore all his poems had a great speciality. That was, his poems were filled with love, but love for Bhagavan alone. Do you know that love we all have? How many different kinds of love are there? Our Puja Gurudev said, I love you. Do you remember the letters he wrote to all of you? And in that, he says, love towards a friend is called sneham. Love towards a child is called vatsalyam. But the same love in you, when you express towards Guru and Bhagavan, it is called as Bhakti. So everyone has this ability to love Bhagavan. And when you love Bhagavan and Guru, that is called as Bhakti. So all the Pandits, common people, and all those people who are in love, they loved him and his poems and his poetry and his singing, which was simple. And what was the name of these? Padam. They were simple yet profound. In Kanchi, when he had gone, there was Varadaraja Swami. And here, do you know, the wonderful incident happened. He visited Kanchi, and the moment he saw the Murti of Bhagavan, he was in so much ecstasy, he just was there. The priests, the pujaris didn't notice him, and he went into meditation sitting at one pillar. They went away, locked him inside. He didn't notice ever, and suddenly he had the vision of Lakshmi Devi going and then dancing with Bhagavan in the temple. In the morning when the pujaris came, they saw, who is this? Is he a thief? They wanted to beat him up. When he was there, he said, I have this vision of Bhagavan. They didn't believe him. They said, You think you are a great bhakta of Bhagavan? We don't believe you. Then someone came running. They said, yes, we saw this Utsav Murti of Bhagavan, and now Lakshmi Amma, who was put somewhere else, her Vigraha has come and it is with Bhagavan now. Both of them are together. They all did namaskara to him, and they understood what a great bhakta that Varadaya was. At this place, all the pujaris, they felicitated him, and the whole public of the kingdom got to know about his greatness. And it was here he was given the name Kshetrajna by the great Purohits. Kshetrajna is one who knows Bhagavan. That became Kshetraya, and of course his original name was Varadaya, or Varada for those who loved him too. Now from there he went on to Chidambaram. Chidambaram, as I told you, Kshetraya is also well known for someone who went to all places. It's a Kshetra. So there where Bhagavan is well known, that's a place is called Kshetra. So he said all these places. He went to Chidambaram, and there was one king called Chenji Krishna Naidu. Now he loved Krishna so much, but he started shooting some of the bhaktas in Chidambaram who were Shiva bhaktas, and Chidambaram is very well known for, Nataraja. He said we should have Krishna here. He said only Krishna is the God, all others are demigods. And here Varada came, and he said, he came and said, how can you kill anyone? You are not a real bhakta who kills and abuses in the name of Bhagavan. He said, how dare you say that? I shall kill you. But he said, I am here because Bhagavan asked me, and when he prayed, everyone could see that Shiva or Nataraja, they could see Krishna also. And then the pujaris also agreed, and there was, Tilla Govinda Swami, in that place, they also had a beautiful murti of Bhagavan Krishna also done Pradisthapana. So everyone was happy. Harihara Abheda was done. From then he moved on to Tanjavur, and Tanjavur was ruled by Raghunatha Nayaka, and it became a great place of fine arts, Not only in ancient India, even now, women poets were great, and there were many great women poets in his thing, like Madhuravani, Ramabhadraamba, Krishnaji, and Rangajamma. They were all great famous, the women themselves. So many women of India were very, very great and talented people. Till the foreign invaders came and made life hell, Now Varadaya was there. He was very happy. The king was so happy to have him in his court. But the courtiers were very jealous, and they incited the king at one point of time. They said, he is insulting you. And then they made the king challenge him. He took up the challenge. He said, here's a poem I'm giving. Let them complete this. But he did not want to stay in a place where there was jealousy. And he went for pilgrimage once again towards Rameshwaram. The king was not happy to leave him, but he went. He said, I'll come back, but by the time I come back, these court poets of yours should finish what I told. Meanwhile, you remember, there was his friend Bhama, who was dancing and singing for the Lord. She missed him. She missed him at Kanchi too. But, she danced for Bhagavan at Kanchi to his songs, and she could see that everyone loved this great Bhakta. She could see that they were all moved by the great devotion in his songs. Slowly, she went to Madurai and then Tanjavur, but she couldn't find him there. Meanwhile, he visited Rameshwaram. He sang so many songs on Shiva. Though he was a Bhakta of Krishna, he never saw any difference in anyone, Subramanya or Shiva or anyone. He was seeing none but the love of Bhagavan alone everywhere. When he came back, slowly, he came back to Tanjavur, and there the court poets still could not finish composing the poem. Yet she was there and she was dancing in front of the Raja. When Varadaya entered, he saw that she was dancing, and he was also remembering the Mubagopala Krishna from their childhood, and he went into divine ecstasy and started singing. And you know what would happen? Mohanangi was also dancing in a very divine thing, because now they were transported in front of Radha and Krishna. They had Krishna and he was singing for Krishna, she was dancing for Krishna, and it was indeed a divine sight that no one had ever witnessed before. It was like Krishna and Radha were coming and were there right in front of them. Of course, please remember, for Varada, Krishna alone is the divine person. He loved Krishna alone and no one else. From there, Varadaya said, I want to see my Bhagavan. He moved to Srirangam and he got darshan of Bhagavan there. And he felt very nostalgic, and finally on his way he went back to Golconda, and from Golconda he came back. At Golconda, where he composed 1500 padams of poems, he had a vision of Bhagavan Krishna, where Bhagavan Krishna blessed him, because it's very difficult to compose 1500 padams in 1 month. Do you think it's possible? See the rate of poems to be composed, and he is a spontaneous person. And his speciality was, even to this day, his padams are not just poetry, but when you sing, you can just dance for it. So Krishna told, where you got my darshan, you will get my Atma darshan also. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. We all love Bhagavan. Bhagavan will make us famous, intelligent, great. And so that is how he reached Kaivalya when he went. By the time he went back, and then Bhama, that was Krishna-smile day, Kshetraya and Mohanangi went straight to the temple, and as was the custom, they both sang and danced in tune with it. People flocked in great numbers. They thought none other than Radha and Krishna, engrossed in the platonic love, have come down to show them. And after some time, Kshetraya or Varada could no longer bear to be separated from Bhagavan, and through his song, slowly his Atma went and merged with Bhagavan. Bhama too, after some time, she noticed and understood what happened, and she slowly fell down at the physical body of Kshetraya, and she was also lost to this earthly world. Now my dears, can you see? Here is someone who played and loved and enjoyed with Bhagavan, and he became such a great poet, such a great person, he is known as Pada Kavita Pitamaha, he is also known. Wow, Do you know that even in Carnatic Sangeeta he is very famous, in dancing world he is very famous. You will also become intelligent like Bhagavan, like Varada. If you have the blessing of Bhagavan, how will you? In fact, he had alankaras and jatiyas, How did he become so intelligent? Because he loved and played with Bhagavan. Khate bhi Ram kaho, sote bhi Ram kaho, peete bhi Ram kaho. Whatever you do, you enjoy doing that along with Bhagavan. You will also surely become intelligent. If you love Bhagavan, everyone will love you. If you love Bhagavan, everyone will play with you. If you love Bhagavan, everyone will miss you. Even if you love Bhagavan, everyone will dance with you, play with you. When you keep him in your heart and you study, you will become intelligent and score high marks. So may Bhagavan Krishna bless all of you. Bolo Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai.
You cannot steal what is already yours. But Krishna did steal something. To find out, read Krishna's Bharata. This is one of my favorite books growing up as a kid, as it shows the cheeky little Krishna with his little mischievousness and how we have a little bit of him within us all.
When I was little and I read this book, I learned that I had a friend, an invisible friend called Krishna. I learned that whether when I was happy or sad, Krishna would always be by my side. You should also read this book to learn more about your friend, Krishna.
Krishna loves you, don't you know? When I was a kid, I used to love reading this book because it showed me Krishna loved me when I was sleeping and when I was eating and when I was doing everything else. Get this book and find out how much Krishna loves you.
Krishna Walks was my favorite book growing up as a child because it taught me how to be a hero to the people I love. This book talks about Krishna's love, warmth, and security, and it taught me how to always say thank you to God. And like Krishna said, God gives us without our asking.
Krishna Photocopied Himself was my favorite book growing up because it showed me that Krishna is all around me. My favorite part of the book is actually the end with the mirror because it showed me that Krishna is inside my heart.